Hello and welcome to Let's Talk Azure podcast with your host Sam Foote.
And Anne Armstrong.
If you're new here, we're a pair of Azure and Microsoft 365 focused IT security professionals. It's episode 3 of season 7. Alan and I on this episode will dive into the new releases in January. Here are a few things that we covered. Well, we're going to cover, Key Microsoft Entra, Intune, Defender XDR features, including, the updates and announcements. All the new Azure changes, new features and retirements. We're going to cover the first month of the year, January, looking back at the new updates. We've noticed that a large number of you aren't subscribed. If you do enjoy our podcast, please do consider subscribing. It would mean a lot to us for you to show your support to the show. It's a really great episode, so let's get started. Hey Alan, how are you this week?
Hey Sam, not doing too bad. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. Yeah, not bad, thank you. Anything happening in your world? Anything new?
No, don't think so. Got some holiday coming up, so that's good. I suppose as we're recording this, we'll be doing a ITC event or a summit and speaking at it. So.
Oh yeah, what are you covering? Let me guess.
Purview. Well, it's not actually Purview. It's almost data governance and AI security sort of stuff. So it's a bit more high level than technology per se. So
nice. Yeah, it's obviously a massive topic at the moment. So yeah, big focus for a lot of people.
Yeah. That's a whole. You could have a whole. Well, maybe we should have a whole episode on how the world's changing around all that sort of stuff. Maybe that might be a good one to do.
Back in my day, we just had shadow IT.
Back in my day, there was no. Well, not maybe in our day, but just about. But there was no internet, so you didn't have to worry about it.
No, not
you have to worry about
not in
physical.
Yeah,
physical security.
That's brilliant. Yeah. Yeah, no, I don't suppose I've got much to really update on, I don't think. What your thoughts on Microsoft handing over those BitLocker keys?
Yeah, not caught up on that per se. Been head down and stuff, but don't think I can elaborate a little bit. Yeah,
well, from what I read, and again, what we read online, you've got to take with a pinch of salt. But essentially, Microsoft had complied with I assume a federal request to hand over BitLocker keys to decrypt a device. The part that I don't know is whether it was simply pulling, like the recovery key out of storage in their tenant, or whether it was like a root key. Do you know what I mean? I assume it was the former, not the latter. But then, I was discussing it with somebody, and I need to look into it more, because I think it's important for us to understand what, if we're using things like BitLocker to protect that data, who has access to reverse that encryption, and I'm not here to debate, the legality of doing it and, them complying with, a law enforcement request, right? Because I believe what I read was that Microsoft said that their stance is that they would comply with any request to do it. Again, that could be fake news. I only read like the one article that I read on it. But I was speaking with somebody about it who was quite concerned about that they were freely storing all of that information now, a bit closer to Microsoft, so yeah, it'd be interesting to see if there is any pushback on that, in the enterprise space,
Yeah, I mean, the question around that might be, though, is, is it lockbox things like that Microsoft have to have requests to get into your environment. Does that entail something? Because that's another thing, isn't it? I think it's Lockbox or something like that, isn't it? That you can get for 365 to say, any Microsoft support or anything has to get approval to access your tenant. I don't think a lot of customers probably turn that on.
Yeah, I just fired up the Forbes article, and it does say that Microsoft said that they comply to around 20 requests for BitLocker recovery keys. So that says to me that it is, the cloud storage of those recovery keys, right? But I do think we need to think about, that Microsoft do have the ability to do that. Now the next question is who at Microsoft can make that decision and who can actually access a recovery key. My assumption is it's not like
standard.
I'm not sure it's any like support like person whatsoever, right? But this is probably like special request. But it does raise a point of should you be storing those BitLocker keys in the cloud? Then there's all this Pandora's box of who can store it more securely, even if Microsoft are complying, with these requests. But I think it's now fair to now say that those recovery keys can and will be accessed if legally required to do so. Because I go back to was it Apple with San Bernardino, where they had a request to unlock an iPhone, and this was a while ago, but wasn't the news something like the San Bernardino state or county or whatever it is had to pay a third party, I think it was like an Israeli cybersecurity firm to use a 0-day on the device because Apple wouldn't comply. But again, I don't know what is fact, fiction, and marketing, from that perspective. But yeah, I thought I'd just get your viewpoint on it because it did come up in conversation literally last week, So
yeah, it's difficult, isn't it? That's the problem. But yeah, I mean, I would have thought that they would have had to inform the Z organization that it was taking place. I would have thought. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know I don't know that legal process at all. But I just I think it's just fair to call out. If you're going to move your BitLocker recovery keys up to 365, then they can be accessed, in that way, right?
Yeah, I guess potentially there might be a mechanism put in if obviously there's enough appetite for it for customer managed keys.
Yeah, I did think about that in my head, but there isn't a way to do that today, as far as I'm aware, is there? That's the only thing.
Well, technically, the BitLocker keys are customer managed keys. It's just that they're stored up into Entra.
So I suppose if you didn't want to do it, you need to put them somewhere else, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, well, the question. The question might. Well, I suppose if it was a device, it's different because obviously in Azure, the keys are stored in a key vault, aren't they? When you encrypt it, was it when they say BitLocker keys? Was it a Windows 10, 11 device? So I'm guessing it was, and then retrieved, or was it an Azure service that they wanted access to the disk? They made a copy of the disk or something, so it was.
Yeah, I don't know that.
Yeah.
I just all I keep reading is that they handed over recovery keys. So it's just, you know, it's probably, maybe it's fair to say that those cloud backups of those recovery keys are more of a convenience than, end-to-end privacy.
And was it again? I don't know because I don't read the article, but was it corporate or was it personal?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Maybe slightly different. Well, it shouldn't be. Don't get me wrong, but it could be.
Yeah. I was just thinking about it in the corporate sort of viewpoint. But maybe, you've got a good point there. That's.
I mean, it's still maybe not right from the personal side or but that makes it slightly different, but not, if that makes sense. Because Microsoft then, in theory, manage those keys.
Yeah.
In there, because it's their tenant, their personal tenant sort of thing. So they would definitely have access to that. So I'll have a look, see what type of device it was.
Yeah, I'm glad that it says that it's recovery keys for specific, device encryption, right? This isn't like here you go, like you can unlock anything you want, right? So it's not that. It's you need to think about the storage of those recovery keys if you need that end-to-end privacy, But from a organization perspective, Microsoft checks a lot of those compliance boxes anyway, right? So, it's ultimately going to be probably safer stored with Microsoft, with the balance of probability. Right. Anyway, Alan, sorry to derail the conversation for 12 minutes. Well, what are your updates for? Oh yeah, just to probably introduce, actually, we should say every month we do an episode on the latest, news items, new features, retirements, new products, solutions. Alan you'll take us through Defender Suite, Purview, Intune, Entra,
yeah.
And then I will typically do Defender for Cloud and Azure. So, Alan, do you want to take us away on your side?
Yep, sure. So I started going down the rabbit hole of that thing. That's fine.
we can pause if we want to.
No,
let's go.
Right. Okay. This is a different order than normally because I opened them up in a different order. But Intune. So for January, there's only one update around application management, and that was PowerShell script installer for Win32 apps. So now you can upload with the Win32 app a PowerShell script to serve as the installer instead of specifying the command line you need to run. This allows you to package the script with the app content and run it in the same context as the app installer, enabling richer setup workflows like prerequisite check, configuration changes, post-install actions, installation results, etc., that kind of thing. So yeah, that's good. I think you could run a script anyway, kind of thing in there, but I think this is it being more integrated now. So
yeah, nice.
That's good. So I have to test that out at some point. Okay. Defender XDR. So this is just this new feature functionality in Defender XDR itself. So in January, there was a preview of custom detection rules in Microsoft Defender. Now supports near real-time NLT configurations on Microsoft Sentinel data. So that's probably more of the migration process there to bring that into the XDR portal rather than having to do it from the Azure one. There's a preview that if the query exceeds 64 meg in size, I think that'd be pretty mental. It'd be a lot of records to get it that far, I think.
What, the results from a query, you mean? Not the actual. I thought you meant the query itself.
No, the results exceeds the query results exceed 64 meg.
In a join, left join.
Yeah. The portal now returns the maximum number of records within the limit. So rather than just noping.
Okay, fine. That's good.
Out,
yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it gives you basically this is most of it kind of thing. And in preview, the behavior info and behavior entities table in advanced hunting now includes additional columns and information about behavior data types and alerts from users and entities from the UEBA, providing more insights and relationships between identity, behavior, and entities. So that's good. Moving on. So the Microsoft Unified Security Operations, so the integration between the two, Defender XDR and Sentinel, in January, it was announced an update on the date of retirement of the Azure portal to be now moved out to March 27. Now, so more time to do migration.
More time.
In effect, though, new deployments are still by default in effect hooked up when you deploy Sentinel. So it's only legacy ones. Again, it's still there, but the integration is in effect automatically created, as far as I'm aware. So yeah, that's good. I think this is probably more around the RBAC model and things like that, just to get some more of that sort of.
We're still getting some core features in as well, aren't we?
Yeah.
For feature parity, I mean, and that's not to say the insane work that's happened there, but yeah, maybe it was a bit advantageous, a bit optimistic.
The new, I mean, the new, obviously there is new stuff that is only in that connectivity, like data lake and things like that.
Yeah, true, yeah.
It's just, like you said, bringing some of that, I'm not going to say obvious stuff, but some of the leggy stuff that's probably there that needs to be moved over so that organizations can switch all their automation or access, etc., to be slightly different. So yeah, so that's it's kind of it's good and bad. I think it's kind of good that there's more time to do some of the migration stuff, but it's partially bad because it should we should be there, kind of getting it done, sort of thing. So
yeah, I suppose it's hard it's going to be hard for businesses that invested in Sentinel and are absolutely fine with the service.
Yeah, I think
it is quite a shift, isn't it?
It is. It's more. I think it's more around the managed services part. That's the
true. Yeah,
the issue, not the main issue around that. I think a customer, a consumer of it, locally to their tenant, apart from updating some of the analytic rules and things like that to match, the new content types and things like that, or the alert types, then that will be the main change around that. He says, with some parity needs to be moved still, but I think it's all the managed services are probably the ones that are stuck a little bit, because there's some of the bits that are some features that are maybe missing to be able to move it all over to that portal. So yeah. Right, moving on to Defender for Office. In January, we had block communication from sender emails and domains in Teams. So admins can directly block malicious domains and email addresses from within the XDR portal, seamlessly adding targeted entries to the Teams admin center, blocked domains and user list. So instead of you have to block it in two places, you can just do it in one.
Excellent.
The next question might be is what permissions you might need for Teams as your account to do that from the XDR portal. But
Alan, just gloss over that, okay? It's an improvement.
Oh yeah, no, it's a great one.
No, I'm very messed. Yeah.
Another good one is expanding 0-hour auto purge Zap and Teams admin quarantine to Plan 1 of Defender for Office. So bring it down to the Plan 1, not needing it in Plan 2.
Holy moly.
To be fair, I thought Zap was actually in Plan 1 anyway. But
I agree with you. I'm also outraged and happy at the same time, right? Because if you think, oh, it should have been in there, but they have now actually moved it, so it was a travesty, but they fixed it before I even got there.
So it's 0 hour purge for Teams.
Yeah.
So
because on the email side, it's fine, isn't it? Yeah, it was just for Teams. But okay. Well, let's. I don't know. We should have a whole episode on why Teams is different. But
yeah. I mean, you could say the same thing for Teams DLP, couldn't you?
Yeah, that's what I had in my mind. Yeah, I just didn't say that because I thought we'd then talk about it for like 5 minutes. Because what? Yeah, stop. The whole you get DLP in E3 because it's Office. What about Teams? Anyway, okay, sorry. Move on, Alan. Move on, please, before my mind explodes.
Before we go down the rabbit hole, yes.
Good job, Microsoft, fixing your own problem.
Yes, right, cool. Yes, that's Defender for Office. Defender for Identity. So some of the identity inventory enhancements are now generally available. So the Accounts tab in the Identity inventory. So the new tab, consolidate view of all accounts associated with an identity, including accounts on Active Directory, Entra, and supported non-Microsoft identities. So that could be Okta, Ping ID, I think it is. Some of the other integrations. Let's just see if it shows me. No, it doesn't. Okay, but that could also be any of the integration with, I think, Defender for Cloud apps that talks into the SaaS services. So we'll tie them all together, so you can understand from that point. Manually link and unlink accounts as well is one of those features. So if there is an identity that doesn't rematch, or you've got I suppose, an admin account, you can kind of link it to the main account, so you can say it's still the same person, but their secondary account kind of thing.
Okay.
Identity level remediation actions. So we need to disable accounts or reset passwords for one or more accounts linked to the same identity. So,
oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah. So that's I suppose on-prem and cloud and Entra and AD. That's probably the easiest one to think about. But that could be also jumping into Okta, because that would be Okta and Entra and AD potentially, and maybe some of the SaaS services that support it. That integration.
Yeah, that's
so
good.
That's quite nice.
Yeah.
And there's a new advanced hunting table, which is just the identity account information. So instead of it being identity info, I think was the original one. I think it's identity account. So this brings it all into one, that basically sorts the table to tell you how it's all linked together. So that's good. We've got a new security posture assessment. Remove stale Active Directory accounts. That's in preview. Accounts that haven't logged in for 90 days. So that's just remediation. A new Posture 1 Microsoft Entra ID privileged user account that is also privileged in Active Directory. Ooh. So if there's a shared, if you've got a local account that's got admin rights, and then it's also in the cloud as having roles, you can see both sides of it. Okay, that's interesting. That's a good one. Defender for Identity alerts, MDI alerts, migrated to the unified Defender alerting experience. So they're not in the classic format anymore. They're now in the sort of XDR format now. So that's just more of a migration from that side. The new Health Agent V3, which is the one that that is part of Defender for Endpoint. That's the extra sensor there. That's easier integration. It's now got a misconfiguration health alert for enhanced RPC auditing. That's not turned on basically, so you can start seeing when stuff is misconfigured. And also they brought in a button in the XDR portal to say when you use version 3, it is in preview, configure all the audit configuration when it gets onboarded. So it does a local group policy and registry change to say all the auditing's done for you. So that's an interesting one. Yeah. So instead of doing it per put it into there's I suppose two views of that, but if it's done locally on each machine, or it's done via the domain controller group policy centrally. I guess there's pros and cons to that, but for probably small organisations, that will probably be a really good one to just get done from an onboarding perspective. So yeah, there's loads for January. I thought I only had a couple on this one. Mind you, Defender for Identity, it doesn't get too many normally. New posture.
I just feel like Defender for Identity has had quite a few over the past few months. I feel like there's a push there,
Well, the Defender for Identity, originated from Azure and I can't remember the on-prem one now. But it was mainly Active Directory, so this is just, a lot of these are obviously Active Directory related, but we've obviously had some stuff around it being, more identity focused around the other sources. So so new posture assessment, so identifying service accounts in privileged groups. So that's just to make sure that, whether they should or shouldn't be in those. So let's try and remove, any possible lateral movement side of things. Another posture assessment, locate accounts in built-in operator groups. So basically members are part of the operator group either directly or indirectly. So if they're in groups of groups, etc. So again, reducing any doing assessment for users to review or organizations to review legacy or unnecessary operator access that can be elevated that isn't required. So
yeah, because some person 5 years ago tried to integrate some sort of application, just spammed a lot of identities into random groups until it worked, and then went, I'll go clean those up later, and never did.
And I think also sometimes in the past, in very older versions of installing stuff, they said, give it all this access now, let it do its thing, and then remove it. Yeah,
exactly.
It needs this to do the base stuff. I know one of those is like when you do, rightly or wrongly, is when you do like someone deploys something to SQL, when it needs like DB owner or something to be able to do something to it on its first like install to run the scripts and stuff to deploy the databases and whatever, and then you can drop it down to a normal user. But yeah, that's a similar sort of scenario there.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, so that is it for Defender for Identity. I say just it, but Defender for Cloud Apps. So there is only one for January, and that is Workday Connector updated to least privileged permission model. So I think beforehand it must have needed some read permissions or modified permissions, and now moved it to view only for the functionality. So better aligns to least privileged. So that's good. Again, that might have been a combination of working with Workday to have a better, or maybe add additional roles there so that it can be least privileged. Microsoft Sentinel. So the only one for January is new entity behavior widget in Defender Portal homepage. Defender Portal homepage now includes a UEBA widget where analysts can immediately have visibility into anomalous user behavior and therefore accelerate threat detection workflows. So quick view, you can see what's happening. The other one for this was the Sentinel migration bit we talked about earlier, and I think this is probably related. Let me just look. Yeah, so UEBA behaviors layer aggregates actionable insights from raw logs in near real time. Cool, that's a mouthful. UEBA layers that transform high volume, low security logs into clear, human readable behavior insights. So using power of AI to aggregate the sequences of raw events, so you get more of a meaningful output from that. So that's good. Enable UEBA directly from the data connector configuration. That's in preview. You can now enable UEBA from supported data sources directly from the connector configuration page. Right, okay, so at the moment you had to jump to the UEBA section of Sentinel or the XDR portal to enable it. They're now saying that they're putting it onto the actual pages of the connectors that support it. So you can just do it as you connect the connector. So that's good. Yeah, okay, that's that one. And Microsoft Purview is next. So adaptive scopes. So as an alternative or supplement to export options to download the list of scoped members, run this. So they brought out a new PowerShell command called get adaptive scope members. So up to when the scopes are larger than 1,000 or more, you can customize the export. So it's probably that the portal can't do more than 1,000 user export if you want to get the list. You can now do it via PowerShell. Copilot in preview is so Copilot agents are in. So they've got a Purview posture agent for data security posture management. That's the new preview for that. So giving you some idea around your data security posture management and have an AI to do some additional analysis. The other one that was interesting was that in preview for data security investigations, there is a new data security investigation compute unit to replace security compute units. So there's an additional bit there for when you want to. Yeah, they haven't abbreviated it. Well, no, it's DSICU technically, but they haven't abbreviated it. I was going to look through. It comes under the AI capacity part, so it's going to be. I think it's going to be available in Australia/New Zealand, ANZ, Europe, EU, UK, and US at the moment as the main ones. There is a guide on what it might cost, I think. And I don't know if it is per usage, like pay as you go as you use it, or if it's like you got to pay it, monthly to you keep it. So I need to check that. But yeah, so a new consumer unit, which is I kind of understand a little bit around that because of the SCUs being used for doing the investigations and that kind of thing. If you're doing a data security investigation, it might be
you nuke all of your analysts. Yeah.
Yeah.
Capacity.
Yeah, exactly. So,
but that's like open the gates to right?
Other consumer units, yes.
Sorry, did you tell us pricing?
No, I haven't seen it. It is in preview, so I don't know if they've.
Okay, right. That's
kind of.
They haven't hit us with the bad news yet.
Well, they might have done. I'll look in the background whilst you're doing your bits. Data security posture management. There's a new Asset Explorer, or Asset Explorer, now has agents tab in it, so we can now start seeing what agents are doing from that side. And that was it. What else have I got? I need to look at Entra. Let me just grab that. In January, generally available for ability to convert source of authority of synced on-prem AD users to the cloud is now available. So it was in preview. So now you can switch that Entra is now the source of truth. So that's quite good. So if you're in that, starting to transition, to be cloud first. That's the start of it. So, updates are done in the cloud and then they're synchronized down to AD. So AD becomes, it's not like read only, but I suppose it's more, I can't think of the word of it now, but it's not secondary, I guess, in that sense. Generally available Entra ID governance, guest billing, meter enforcement. So now they're enforcing lifecycle for Entra ID guest users. So there's a billing from that side.
Yeah, because they changed it from a ratio to a very large tiered, isn't it? It's like,
yeah, there was stats you could do the one to many kind of thing from the like E5 capability, but I think this identity governance, I think there's a different meterage around that side of it, especially if you've got the licensing for identity governance.
Yeah, no, that's cool.
Let's just take a look. Generally available source principal creation audit logs for alerting and monitoring. So there's a new audit log property now to make it easier for admins to understand why source principles were created and who or what triggered it. So that's quite good from
that's good. Yeah,
understanding it. Session control, conditional access policies in Entra external ID. That's quite interesting. So in a B2B, B2C, or mainly B2C sort of environment. Generally available Entra private access for domain controllers. So bring in MFA to on-prem applications when accessed from an on-prem, i.e. local to local access, while safeguarding domain controllers against identity threats. Oh, so that's an interesting one. And it's generally available as well. Yeah, okay. I need to look at that. God, they definitely bring more reasons for private access. Yeah, we'll just go with that. And I think that was it. I say that was it. There seemed to be a fair bit there. But yeah, I think that's it. So what have you got, Sam? And in the background, I'll see if I can find out what these data security investigation units are costing.
I'll start with Defender for Cloud, and only one update in January for Defender for Cloud, but I think it is quite a big one. So Microsoft Security Private Link is now in preview for Defender for Cloud. Essentially what this is for is if you have an environment that is network isolated or a hybrid or on-premise connectivity, you can now connect it via private link to Defender for Cloud directly with no transit over the internet. So all of your security information, because I suppose this is fair because you have things such as cloud workload protections, right, which are essentially threat protection solutions, right? This is now in preview. So with this you basically can guarantee no internet exposure. It's just Microsoft Backbone directly into Defender for Cloud. So have a look at Security Private Link if that's something that you want to do. But it creates a private endpoint that you can then connect to, and then if you do have private DNS zone, you just have to create the correct entries there, and it'll point up into Azure. So I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I can think of a few use cases for that.
That's the only update for Defender for Cloud in January. Let's move on to Azure, and I've moved to a different feed reader now, so I've actually got my items now. So I'm not. Last time it was a bit skittish and all over the place because I was like, "What the hell's going on?" Anyway, right. What now generally available is Ubuntu 24.04 support in Azure Kubernetes service. So it can be enabled using the new Ubuntu 24.04 OS SKU in Kubernetes 1.32 and above. Take a look at that. You've got a newer version of Ubuntu there, upgrading from 22.04. Which is really good. Azure File Sync. We've spoken about Azure File Sync previously, I believe. But what it does is it allows you to simplify the migration of a data in a hybrid scenario, so like an on-premise file server up to Azure Files. That is now available in Israel Central. So that is cool. So if you are in that region, you've got availability there for that. Azure load testing is now available in Switzerland North. So yeah, if you have got requirements in Switzerland and you want to keep them, in country, in sovereignty, then you can do that as well. Now launched and generally available is reporting in Playwright workspaces, which is a part of Azure App Testing. Playwright workspaces and app testing allows you to continuously run, integration tests and debugging tests on your applications. But now what you can do is you can bundle them into a Playwright workspace. And that space is fully managed. You connect it to a storage account so that you can store all of your test artifacts there. Apparently it also significantly speeds up test execution as it runs the tests in parallel using cloud managed browsers. So yeah, if you use Playwright, have a look at Playwright workspaces in Azure load testing. Looks really good. I think we spoke about this previously, which was standard V2 NAT gateways with zone redundancy. So now they're generally available. So with a standard V2 NAT gateway, you get zone redundancy automatically. So it maintains outbound connectivity during a single zone failure in availability zone enabled regions. Oh my God. And then you can go up to 100 gigabits per second of throughput as well, and 10 million packets per second, doubling the standard SKU's capacity. You can do you've got dual stack support as well, so you can attach up to 16 IPv6 and 16 IPv4 public IP addresses for future ready connectivity. And you get traffic insights with flow logs as well, so for troubleshooting and compliance as well. The standard V2 NAT gateway is the same price as the standard SKU, and it's available in most public cloud regions. And it's so have a look and see what is supported, and you can deploy it through Portal, CLI, PowerShell, Bicep, ARM, Terraform. Terraform support is coming soon as well for deployment. So that sounds like a net win across the board, to be fair. Standard V2, same price. So it seems really good. Now in public preview, 7th generation Intel-based virtual machines. Right, here we go. Is that DL? I think it is. DLSV7, DSV7, and ESV7 virtual machines. They are powered by the latest Intel Xeon 6 processors. Bit weird considering it's the 7th generation, but we'll skip past that. Rah, cutting edge AI, rah. But essentially 15% better general compute performance, turbo frequencies up to 4.2 gigahertz and twice higher memory bandwidth. Now expanded sizes. The DSV7 and the ESV7 VMs can now scale up to 372 virtual CPU cores, with the ESV7 VMs enabling up to 2.8 TB of memory. That's basically 2.8 terabytes of memory. Increased networking and remote storage performance driven by the latest Azure Boost capabilities. So up to 400 gigabits per second networking bandwidth with the largest side. With the largest size, that's crazy. Up to 800,000 IOPS and 20 gigabytes per second throughput to premium V2 and ultra-disk remote storage with the largest size. Holy moly. Yeah, so you can join the preview now, and you can preview them in East US 2 region. So to get access to the preview, you have to fill out a survey that's linked from the news. So yeah, and as we know, with latest generations, you usually get sometimes it's a price decrease, right? But it's let's call it price parity for more performance typically. So it'd be interesting to see if that is the same here. What am I gonna do next? Oh, and not to be outdone, now generally available AMD Turin. Oh my days! DASV7, EASV7, and FASV7 series virtual machines. So these again are general purpose machines from AMD. These are actually generally available. But yeah, these version 7 ones provide 35% more CPU performance. But also, what they are also are calling out is specific performance gains in specific types of workloads. So they're saying up to 25% performance improvement for Java-based workloads, 65% for in-memory cache applications. That's huge. Up to 80% for crypto workloads. Well, let's just hope that's security crypto, not the crypto I'm thinking of. And then up to 130% for web server applications as well. That's a pretty bold statement, so it'd be interesting to see what data backs that up as well. They've now got new VM series alongside these CPUs that have local disk support as well. So yeah, either check out the version 7 Intel or version 7 AMD. It's interesting that they're both in there. A retirement support for Python version 3.10 ends on October the 1st, 2026. So upgrade your Azure Functions app to a minimum of Python 3.13 by that date. Your apps will continue to run, but security updates and performance optimizations will no longer be available, and they'll no longer provide customer support for Python 3.10. So, chop, make it happen. Yeah. So. Yeah, so a retirement here, which could be quite applicable to you, Alan, I suppose. A retirement of Send Data to Event Hubs and Storage preview is retiring on July the 31st, 2026. So on July 31st, 2026, they'll retire the preview feature, Send Virtual Machine Client Data to Event Hubs and Storage (preview). It will no longer be supported by Microsoft. You won't be able to create any new data collection rules using the feature, and in existing configurations using this capacity will stop sending data. Okay. Yeah, I don't know if that's something that you use at all. I would tell you the alternatives, but when I click on the link, it's a dead link. So good job, Microsoft.
Go to Event Hub and stuff like that. We probably don't do, but to log analytics, we use DCRs. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So if you are using that, then
I think what that would be is probably to help with if you weren't using like Microsoft Sentinel kind of thing for security events. That'd be one scenario. You push it to Event Hub to then be collected.
Yeah, somewhere else. Yeah. Yeah, and that's it from me. That's all I got. So pretty quick update.
Cool. I found the data security costing.
Oh yeah, okay, go on then. I am sitting down.
So there's two models or meters,
Of course,
for it. One is storage. So as an investigation takes place and you store the data that's being investigated, that is charged, and that is $5 per gig per month. From what I've read, once you've done your investigation, basically deleted the investigation, then you stop paying for that data. So it's $5 for a gig for the whole month, if that makes sense. So if you did it for 14 days or 15 days, halfway through, you'd only pay, I think, $2.25 for it.
But if you stopped one and started one again, would you be double billed for that?
Unsure.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Go on.
I suppose for the gig, you would if they were both stored at the same time. But if it was deleted then redone, then you'd continue. You'd start from that time, wouldn't you, for X amount of time?
I would assume so. Yeah. If you had two 15-day ones, they would reduce charge for the 1 month for the whole lot. In theory. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if it goes as granular as like how many hours and things like that, but.
Do you just have to commit to a certain amount of storage for the month?
No, it doesn't say that. It's based on the investigation.
Okay.
So data security investigations storage meter for storing investigation related data charged by the gig.
Yep.
The second part is obviously the compute units. So for the capacity required for performing AI-powered data analysis and execution investigation actions on data charged by compute units, CUs. Monthly charges are estimated from the amount of data stored, this is the overall, and the number of CUs consumed per hour. The pay-as-you-go model ensures customers only pay for what they need when they need it. So
that was a lot of words, Alan. I've got no idea what you just said.
Data Security Investigation Compute, DSIC.
Yeah.
Units, is $5 per compute unit per hour. Now, I don't know if that is that because it's once
$5? That's more expensive.
Yeah, but okay. I think this is, and again, we'll have to read up on it, but I don't know if this is when you start an investigation, whether that's when you start paying for the compute units whilst the investigation is taking place, and once it's finished, it then stops.
You're done, yeah.
Kind of thing, or if it's you've got to buy, X amount of SCUs, the investigation
DSUI, whatever they are, yeah.
DSICUs, yeah. To say I've got to have them for an hour for every hour of the day sort of thing,
right?
But based on the wording that I said before, I feel like it's when an investigation takes place. You'll say how many SCUs you want to give it, SCUs, the compute units,
yeah,
for the given period of time. So you'll say for this investigation, I want to give you 2 compute units, which means that it might take you 3 hours to do, but I'm only paying for it, or whatever, and then it turns off. Or I give you 5 because I need to know that it right now, sort of thing. I don't know.
Okay.
So
I assume with like how Security Copilot works is that you don't give it more SCU to go faster. It's just simply the amount of data that it's got to tokenize, right, in and out. So I wonder if it's more of a function of the amount of total data. And you said that at the start, didn't you? That it was relative to the size of the data
that it stores for investigation.
Yeah. So it's I assume tokenize. You're storing a gigabyte's worth of data, and I've got to tokenize a gigabyte's worth of data. So that's going to consume 10 DSCUIB, whatever they are, right? So, and then it's going to consume that, and be done.
Yeah. So that there is a in the page for it, there's a best practice for managing investigation costs. And when you go to before you start an investigation, you can do an in-product cost estimation based on the data.
Based on the data, yeah. Okay, so it is. So it's exactly the same as Security Copilot. You just don't buy it monthly. You just buy it per investigation. So
you can set the maximum hourly limit for compute units usage.
Oh my god! Yeah, okay.
So it's basically saying the AI can't exceed that during complex and urgent investigations.
Yeah.
So kind of you can manually raise it if you feel like it's going too slow, basically. Yeah. So and it will show you the usage bit of it as well. Yeah. So that we'll need looking at to understand that. But yeah. Cool. Is that everything then? I think it is, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Cool. Probably a quick note. I'll do it on here, and we'll do a little quick one as well, won't we, Sam? But in effect, in the background, we've changed where the podcast sort of sits, which doesn't affect most people. But for YouTube, if you are using YouTube or YouTube Music, we have a new playlist that we have to use. So people may have seen that the old playlist now says old or migrate now on it. So you can see the new episodes. It may not be that you get the new episodes automatically, which means you can't see this one anyway. So which is why we're going to do a quick.
So welcome to all of our new YouTube people that have migrated without any guidance. We welcome you.
But yeah, we will do a quick episode note just on the old one, just so that we can get everyone to move over to it. So, but yeah, cool. So if you did enjoy this episode, please do consider leaving us a review on Apple, Spotify, or YouTube. This really helps us to reach more people like yourselves. If you do have any specific feedback or suggestions, we have a link in our show notes to get in contact with us.
Yeah, and if you made it this far, thanks ever so much for listening. We'll catch you on the next one.
Yep, thanks all.